Watch them move. There is no discussion, no debate, just a silent, fluid understanding. This is the wolf pack, and its survival is not written in snarls and teeth, but in a quiet, ancient pact. A pact of roles, of territory, of absolute, non-negotiable loyalty to the unit. Every member knows their place, not as a cage, but as a purpose. Every outsider is assessed not with malice, but with a simple, brutal calculus. Are you a part of this ecosystem or a threat to it? Their world is a map with clear borders. Inside the pack, safety, cooperation, a shared breath. Outside it, the vast, unpredictable wild. This isn't cruelty, it's intelligence. It is the elegant logic of a creature that knows survival is a collective project. But this intelligence is not trapped in the wilderness. It is alive, fully formed, in the psychology of a specific kind of person. This isn't about someone who is just a good friend or a loyal partner. This is about someone for whom loyalty is not merely an emotion, it is an ecosystem. The entire structure of their relational world depends on it. For them, trust is never given, it is earned. Through a silent, rigorous, and often unforgiving audit of your actions, your consistency, your motives. Their world is not a warm, blurry continuum of connection. It is a map, etched in mental steel, divided into two distinct territories, the inner circle and the outer wild. This is not a choice they make over coffee. It is not a mood. It is an architecture of the self, built over time in response to a world that taught them in no uncertain terms that belonging is not a birthright, but a fortress you must construct and guard with your life. To be close to them is to be granted citizenship inside those walls. To be outside is to be part of the landscape, maybe beautiful, but perpetually unknown and inherently risky. This is the psychology we are walking into today. This is the mind of the pack strategist, the human wolf. And if you have ever built your life around a small, fiercely protected few, or if you have ever loved someone who seems to hold the rest of the world at a polite, immovable distance, then you already know the terrain. You already feel the weight and the warmth of that pact. To understand the pack strategist, you must first understand their territory, because for them, the world is not one place. It is two distinct countries with two completely different sets of laws. The first, and most important, is the inner citadel, the pack. This is not a casual friend group. This is a sworn circle. Their loyalty here is not conditional. It is constitutional. It is the bedrock of who they are. They are the keeper of secrets, the historian of every shared struggle. Remember that time you fell apart 5 years ago? They remember what you said, what the room smelled like, the exact shade of gray in the sky. To be in their pack is to be archived in their soul. They are not just there for you. They are the first line of defense. They will stand between their people and perceived threats, whether that's a toxic person, an unfair situation, or even their own family's thoughtless comments. Their loyalty is active, vigilant, and often preemptive. It is their core identity. I am the one who protects what is mine. But step outside the citadel walls, and you are in the second territory, the guarded border, the wilderness. Here, the pack strategist transforms. The warmth recedes, replaced by a polished, impenetrable facade. They are not rude, they are often impeccably polite, but it is the politeness of a diplomat from a powerful, wary nation. Distrust here is not a feeling, it is the default operating system. A new colleague, a partner's friend, a stranger at a party. These are not potential connections. They are data points in an ongoing strategic assessment. What is your angle? What do you want? Can your presence affect the security of my inner circle? Conversations are not social exchanges, they are intelligence gatherings. They listen not just to your words, but to the spaces between them. This is not paranoia, it is relational risk management. This divide creates a specific, constant weight, the protector's burden. The pack strategist carries a chronic, low-grade anxiety, a background hum of scanning. It's not just about their own safety, but the safety of their entire pack. They feel responsible for the emotional weather in their inner circle. If a friend is hurting, they feel it as a mission. If the pack is under stress, they feel it as a personal failure of defense. It's the exhaustion of a sentry who can never fully clock out because the safety of the kingdom feels like a duty that rests solely on their shoulders. And this leads to their most defining feature: boundaries as geography. For most people, boundaries are like fences, things you put up when needed. For the pack strategist, their time, energy, and vulnerability are not just protected by fences. They are sovereign nations with clearly marked non-negotiable borders. You do not casually cross into their emotional space. You do not make unannounced demands on their time. Access is a privilege granted through careful diplomacy and proven trust. A no from them is not a rejection of you. It is the enforcement of a border treaty. It is a statement of fact. This is my land. You do not have a visa to enter here. They are not being difficult. They are governing the only terrain they have ever felt they can truly control. This is the lived reality of the pack strategist, a life of deep, profound warmth within a fiercely guarded inner circle, and a life of calculated, strategic engagement with everything else. It is a life that makes perfect sense from the inside, and a life that, from the outside, can feel confusing, like being offered the most breathtaking loyalty you've ever known, while simultaneously being shown a door you can sense you will never be invited through. This architecture of loyalty and distrust doesn't appear from nowhere. It is not a personality quirk. It is forged. It is an intelligent, adaptive response to a fundamental lesson the world taught them, often not in a single blow, but in a slow, steady drip. We can call it the core wound. It is not necessarily a dramatic childhood trauma, though it can be. More often, it is a foundational experience, or a series of them, where trust was catastrophically breached, or stability was perpetually absent. It might have been the parent whose love felt conditional, whose moods were a minefield, teaching that even those who should be your sanctuary cannot be fully relied upon. It might have been the early friendship that ended in a shocking, casual betrayal, revealing alliances to be stunningly fragile. It might have been a world that simply felt unsafe, unpredictable, where the rules changed without notice. The lesson learned was not subtle. Safety is not a birthright. It is a negotiation. Belonging is not given. It is a fragile treaty you must constantly work to uphold. Faced with this reality, the mind does not break. It adapts. It engineers a brilliant, desperate solution. The adaptive pivot sounds like this. If I cannot trust the world to be safe, I will not try to tame the whole world. I will build a world within the world that is. I will draw a small, defensible circle. I will populate it only with those who prove beyond doubt that they play by its rules. And I will become the architect, the builder, and the guardian of that world. The pack is that inner world. It is not just a social preference, it is a psychological homeland. A self-created country with strict immigration policies, founded for one purpose: to provide the predictability and security the larger world failed to offer. Psychologically, this taps into and hyperactivates something hardwired in all of us: tribal cognition. The human brain is evolutionarily primed for us versus them thinking. It helped our ancestors survive. For the Pack Strategist, this ancient circuit isn't just active, it's the central processor. Their mind becomes a master of in-group, out-group categorization, but with the stakes dialed up to a life-or-death frequency. This is fueled by a state of perpetual hypervigilance, the sentry system for this self-made tribe. Their nervous system learns to constantly scan the environment not just for physical threats, but for social and emotional ones: shifts in allegiance, signs of betrayal, breaches of the unspoken pact. It is a state of high alert in service of a singular goal: protect the homeland. This brings us back to the wolf, not as a symbol of ferocity, but as a symbol of acute, survival-based calculation. A wolf does not hate the stranger in its territory. Hate is an unnecessary luxury. The wolf calculates the stranger. It assesses size, intent, posture, smell. It runs the variables. Is it alone? Is it weak? Is it a threat to the den? Because in the wilderness, an uncalculated variable is not an interesting mystery. It can be the last variable you ever encounter. The Pack Strategist's mind operates on the same profound, pragmatic logic. Every new person is a set of variables to be solved. Every social situation is a terrain to be mapped for exits and ambush points. Their internal dialogue is not, "Do I like this person?" but, "What does this person represent? What is the risk-to-trust ratio? How does their presence affect the security of my inner circle?" It is a perpetual, often exhausting calculation of risk and allegiance. Not because they are cold, but because their lived experience has proven time and again that calculation is the price of safety. To stop calculating feels not like relaxation, but like disarmament. This strategy, for all its intelligence, carries a profound and silent tax. The very architecture designed for security begins to shape a specific kind of life, one marked by a deep internal contradiction. First, there is the loneliness of the sentinel. Imagine being the one who is always on watch. Even in the warmth of the inner circle, during laughter and shared meals, a part of them remains on the battlements. They are the guardian of the mood, the reader of subtext, the one ensuring the peace holds. This creates a subtle, unbridgeable gap between them and everyone else. They get to relax within the safety he provides. But can he ever truly join them? To relax would be to lower the drawbridge in his own mind. So, they stand at the party, at the family dinner, a beloved king in a castle of their own making, yet perpetually separate from the very revelry they protect. The price of being the protector is that you are never just a participant. Then there is the exhaustion of the calculus. The mental energy required to constantly map social landscapes, to decode layers of intention in every comment, to maintain the emotional fortifications. It is a full-time cognitive job running in the background. It's like having a sophisticated security software that scans every person, every interaction for threats. It drains the battery of the spirit. They may leave a social gathering not energized by connection, but depleted by the unseen labor of assessment and defense. This isn't social anxiety, it's strategic fatigue. The mind was built for connection, but it has been conscripted into a permanent state of reconnaissance. Perhaps the most poignant cost is the grief for the wider world. The pack strategist is not unaware of what lies beyond their walls. They see it. The interesting colleague whose curiosity mirrors their own. The kind neighbor with the gentle smile. The potential friend at the book club who gets their obscure reference. There is a mournful awareness of these missed connections, these parallel lives that could have been. But each is seen through the lens of precaution. Each represents a potential breach, an unsolved variable, a risk to the sanctity of the inner world. So, they are kept at bay, not with malice, but with a sad, strategic resignation. The strategist becomes a curator of a flawless, tiny museum, while outside, a vibrant, messy, beautiful city thrives. A city they observe from their high window, but feel they can never walk in. This leads to the central, tragic paradox of the pack strategist's psychology. A paradox so cruel in its logic, it can take a lifetime to name. What began as a strategy to ensure you would never be alone, now ensures you will never be fully known. The fortress, engineered with impeccable logic to keep danger out, ends up performing a second unintended function. It keeps life itself at a manageable but muted distance. It filters out the chaos, yes, but it also filters out the spontaneity, the surprise, the uncharted, and the raw, unvarnished connection that can only happen when defenses are down. You succeed in creating a world safe from betrayal, but you also create a world safe from the kind of unexpected, profound intimacy that can only enter through an open door, not a negotiated gate. Your loyalty becomes a monument so towering it casts a long shadow over everything else you could be. You are the guardian of the hearth, but you have forgotten the feeling of the sun on your skin in an open field. The pact that saved you has become the perimeter of your existence. And then, in the quietest hour, when the sentry's rounds are done and the fortress is secure, a question rises. It doesn't come from outside. It's not an attack. It's a whisper from a deeper, neglected part of the self. A question that echoes off the very walls built to contain it. It is a simple, devastating question. You built all of this to feel safe. You have your loyal pack. Your boundaries are strong. Your territory is secure. But when you stand here, at the silent center of your perfectly defended world, do you actually feel safe? Or do you just feel separate? This question forces a brutal distinction. It forces you to define your terms. Safety, you have mastered. Safety is the absence of threat, the quiet room, the predictable outcome, the known quantity. It is a negative space defined by what it is not. Not chaotic, not betraying, not dangerous. But aliveness is something else entirely. Aliveness is a positive force. It is the presence of spontaneity, of curiosity without a predetermined end, of unguarded connection that surprises you. It's the laugh that cracks you open, the idea that changes your mind, the touch you didn't see coming. It is risk. It is vulnerability. It is the very thing your architecture was designed to filter out. And in the sterile quiet of your safety, you feel a new kind of starvation. A hunger for the very nutrient your system has been trained to reject. This is the turning point. Not a breakdown, but a profound awakening. The realization that slowly crystallizes is this: your strategy is no longer preventing disaster. The siege you prepared for, it isn't coming. The walls you maintain with such diligence are no longer holding back an invading army. They are holding back the horizon. They are not protecting you from a threat. They are protecting you from experience itself, from expansion, from growth, from the messy, beautiful, uncertain process of being a human touching other humans in an unscripted world. The fortress has become so effective, it has begun to protect you from living. And in that realization, the identity of the Pack Strategist, the guardian, the sentry, the loyal defender, begins to feel less like a suit of armor and more like a life sentence. The path forward from this realization does not begin with tearing down the walls. That would be an act of self-betrayal, a panic, and it would only trigger the old defenses to rebuild them twice as thick. The path begins with a radical act of respect. It begins with turning to the part of you that built this entire system, the inner wolf, the Pack Strategist, and speaking to it not as a flaw to be fixed, but as a genius to be acknowledged. This is stage 1, honoring the wolf. The dialogue is internal, and it must be sincere. You were not wrong. You were not weak. You were brilliant. You took a world that felt like a collapsing landscape, and you engineered stability. You built a kingdom in the middle of a storm. You identified who was true. You drew boundaries where there were none, and you created a haven of loyalty in a world that felt treacherously fluid. You saved us. I see your work. I honor your service. And then, the crucial, gentle pivot. But look around now. The storm, it has passed. The weather is different. You can stand down now. You can go from being a soldier on high alert to a veteran who remembers the war but knows it is over. Your strength is not needed in the same way. It is time for a different kind of strength. With that foundational respect in place, the work moves from honoring to understanding. This is not about blaming the past, but about decoding the present. This is stage 2, mapping the alarms. You become a forensic observer of your own psyche. Your mission? To identify the exact triggers that cause the fortress gates in your mind to slam shut. You approach your own reactions with curiosity, not judgment. You start to keep a mental, or even a physical, log. What was the specific action? Was it the tone of voice that dipped into dismissiveness? Was it the person who canceled plans last minute, activating a deep-seated fear of being unimportant? Was it the feeling of being misunderstood in a group, that old signal of "you don't belong here"? The goal is to separate the ghost of the past wound from the reality of the present moment. That raised voice isn't your unstable parent from 20 years ago. It's a frustrated colleague having a bad day. That flaky commitment isn't proof that all alliances are fragile. It's a busy friend mismanaging their time. The feeling of being misunderstood isn't a sign you're an alien. It's a normal gap in human communication. Mapping the alarms defangs them. It transforms an automatic, overwhelming threat signal into a recognizable, specific alert. Ah, this is my broken promise trigger. This is my dismissive tone trigger. With this knowledge, you create a critical half-second of space. In that space, you have a choice: to obey the old thunderous alarm or to acknowledge the echo and assess the actual, current reality. You are not disabling your security system, you are updating its software. You are teaching it to distinguish between a real fire and the shadow of a flame from a long-extinguished war. With this new internal awareness, the external world can be engaged differently. The goal is not to abandon your nature, but to evolve its expression. This begins with a fundamental shift in metaphor. from fortress to garden. A fortress is about exclusion. Its purpose is to keep things out. Its logic is binary: inside, safe, versus outside, threat. A garden is about cultivation. Its purpose is to nurture what you choose to let in. Its logic is fluid and selective. You choose which seeds to plant, which plants to water, which weeds to pull. You have the power to tend, to expand, to rearrange. Loyalty in this new model is not a wall you hide behind, but a garden you consciously grow. It is active, creative, and alive. You are not a besieged guardian. You are a discerning cultivator of your own relational ecosystem. This cultivation requires a new skill: the practice of discernment, not distrust. Distrust is a blanket. It covers everything unfamiliar in the same shadow. Discernment is a spotlight. It illuminates specifics. Your work is to learn, painstakingly, the difference between a genuine red flag and a neutral unknown. A red flag is a pattern of disrespect, manipulation, or cruelty. It is data that suggests danger. A neutral unknown is simply that: unknown. It is a new person with their own history. It is a different opinion. It is a social invitation from an acquaintance. The old system would treat both as potential threats. The new practice asks, is this information actually dangerous, or is it just unfamiliar? Is this person showing me a warning sign, or are they just being human in a way I haven't cataloged yet? You are retraining your mind to respond to information, not to assumption, to reality, not to prophecy. Practically, this looks like creating concentric circles of trust. Your inner circle, your sacred pack, remains. That depth is non-negotiable and beautiful. The work happens in the space around it. You consciously design an outer circle. This is not a place for deep vulnerability yet. It is a circle of probationary trust or curious engagement. This is where you allow the new colleague, the friendly neighbor, the interesting person from your hobby group to exist. The rules here are different. Boundaries are clearly communicated, but are more like garden fences than fortress walls. They define space, but don't forbid entry. Here, you practice small vulnerabilities. You share a minor preference. You admit a small mistake. You ask a question that reveals a bit of curiosity. Each time you do this, and the world does not end, and is perhaps even met with kindness, you send a powerful message to your inner sentry. See? That was a controlled risk. The ecosystem can handle a little more biodiversity. You are expanding the habitable territory of your life, one small, safe experiment at a time. For those who love a strategist, understand this. Your role is not to convince them the walls are unnecessary. To them, the walls are logic. Your role is to prove, through unwavering consistency, that you are not part of the wilderness they fear. True patience is not passive waiting. It is active, predictable safety. It is showing up when you say you will. It is respecting a no without punishment or passive aggression. It is holding space for their silence without demanding it be filled. It is being the same person on Tuesday as you were on Monday. A predictable climate in which a cautious creature can learn that it is safe to come out. You are not trying to dismantle the fortress. You are proving yourself to be a permanent, peaceful, and respectful part of the landscape outside it. You are giving them a reason to believe the garden might be worth planting. To frame this journey only as fixing a flaw is to miss the entire point. The Pack Strategist is not damaged goods. They are specialized. The very experiences that forged their strategic mind also forged unparalleled strengths. In a world drowning in shallow connections and fair-weather friendships, their gifts are nothing short of profound. Unshakable loyalty, not as a transaction, but as a covenant. Preternatural intuition for character, the ability to see the truth of a person long before they state it. And perhaps most powerfully, the ability to make their chosen people feel like the safest people on Earth. To be loved by a pack strategist, once you are in their circle, is to experience a type of devotion that is increasingly rare. It is to be archived, protected, and seen with a clarity that is both daunting and utterly precious. These are not scars. They are superpowers, forged in the fires of necessary adaptation. The goal, then, is not to become a docile herd animal, trusting blindly, belonging everywhere thinly. That would be an amputation of your nature. The goal is the evolution from wolf to sovereign. It is to move from a consciousness that sees only threats and territory to a consciousness that possesses the wolf's strength, loyalty, and preternatural sight, but rules from a place of secure abundance, not defensive scarcity. It is to carry the deep, fierce love of the pack in your heart, without letting your heart live only within the pack. It is to tend your inner garden with love, while knowing you are also part of the wider, wild, beautiful forest. The strategist can stand down. The sovereign is now awake. If you have seen your own reflection in this, if you recognize the strategic mind, the fierce loyalty, the guarded heart, the silent cost, then hold this final truth close. Your loyalty is not your flaw. It is your depth. It is the proof of a heart that understands the weight of a promise in a world of casual words. And a depth like that, it deserves more than a fortress. It deserves a world larger than a single defended room. It deserves a whole territory to call home. A landscape where you can be both the loyal wolf and the peaceful sovereign. Where you can protect and also be at rest. Thank you for walking this territory with me. If this exploration of the hidden animal within the human psyche resonated with you, please subscribe. Where shall we go next? Into the deep, adaptive camouflage of the octopus? Or the wise, watchful silence of the owl? Let me know in the comments. Until next time.